First of all, I wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Hope you had a good 24th and 25th. And looks like Timmy also gifted us a balance patch today. So of course we're going to go through it and see what they have in store for us today. As you remember, the last balance patch was a complete disaster. This is the next step, part number 2. And we're starting with a buff to Aedigos. I don't think Aedigos necessarily needs a buff, but I think these are healthy changes for the Pokemon. As, you know, it's kind of weird that certain Pokemon get levels up so late. For example, I feel like the same for Snorlax would make sense. Because getting level 13 on kind of an XP share Pokemon most of the time, unless you play Flail, is very difficult. So Point Puff plus level 10, Leaf Tornado plus level 10, Cotton Guard, this is actually very strong. Leaf Tornado plus on level 10 is very strong. Cotton Guard plus level 12 and Cotton Spore level 12. I think that's a good thing, and then general XP share Pokemon shouldn't have the upgrades too late, because their max level will be level 12. At rate. It's very difficult to be higher than level 12 if you're forced to run XP share. So honestly, that's quite decent. Next page, we have a buff to Cerulege. We're actually buffing Bitterblade already again, and Phantom Force at the same time. So Bitterblade, Phantom Force, Cerulege might just be instantly back in business, and also Psycho Cut getting a half a second buff. Following previous nerfs, Cerulege damage output became unexpectedly low for a balanced Pokemon. These adjustments enhance its damage output, so yeah, it might just be back instantly again. Actually, funny enough, the best build on the last patch was Flame Charge and Psycho Cut. I'm actually buffing Psycho Cut a bit as well, but buffing Phantom Force again and buffing Bitterblade definitely sounds kind of scary. Gonna try this out for sure. As we go to Buzzwole getting a buff to Superpower Base Shield from 12% of max HP to 20. That is a huge buff for Superpower. It's gonna make Buzzwole much tankier. I mean, Cookie, right? Double stacking Buzzwole could definitely be a thing. Smackdown also getting half a second cooldown buff, same for Superpower, lower cooldown, more shield. Sounds very scary. You can try some double stacking, also Lunge as well. Just, you know, playing Buzzwole like a bruiser that tanks a lot instead of just, you know, one-shotting someone. Could be quite interesting. Next up, looks like Timmy realized that Scizor also exists. Last patch we had a buff to Scyther, but this time we actually have a buff to Scizor. 5% damage increase on Bullet Punch and half a second cooldown. That half a second cooldown might not seem like a lot, but on such a low cooldown move already, that could be quite good. Especially with 5% damage increase on top of it. And, oh, that's going to be interesting. That could be very interesting. So we have some buffs right here to Aurora Pokemon, because Aurora Pokemon are struggling so much, right, guys? You know, Aurora Pokemon have it very difficult, so we're going to help them out a tiny bit, apparently. No attacker buff yet. Where's my attacker? Let's see. Maybe next page we have, no, Blastoise. Blastoise getting a cooldown buff on Surf by 1 second, getting a Surf plus Sheet amount increase by 35%, Hydro Pump 1 second cooldown, Rapid Spin 1 second cooldown, Rapid Spin plus even more special defense and defense increase. They just keep increasing this for some reason. Unite Move energy required 11% reduction. They're also buffing Blastoise Unite Move. Okay, I mean, what? Okay, that's a lot of buffs. That's gonna be very scary. 1 second, 1 entire second on Surf. 1 entire second on Hydro Pump. I mean, Blastoise was still, I would say, like B tier, so I guess it still deserved a few buffs. But you know, buffing Blastoise is always scary, as this Pokemon is very strong. So, you know, it has a lot of potential. I don't know if I like this Rapid Spin Plus buff. Like, they keep increasing its defense and special defense on it. But like at the end, maybe just give it like some sort of damage reduction instead of defense, because it's always so hard to judge this. It is so difficult to judge any of this. Just having a flat damage reduction is much easier to understand. Let's say, you know, it has like 40% damage reduction, Rapid Spin on Plus. You instantly understand what it means, right? If it has increased the defense by 300, you have no idea. You have literally zero idea how much of that actually decreases your damage against Blastoise, right? You have no idea. Same for the Blastoise player. He's like, how's he supposed to know how much that makes it tankier now when it just says 300 defense? I feel like we have no grasp on how much defense and special defense actually doesn't unite. I know the Math Cord or the Unite DB has a math formula on it, but like, we're gonna not just put out a math formula by playing Unite, right? At the same time, and do some quick math. I don't think that's going to happen. Then we have a Darkrai nerf, which very deserved. Darkrai boost attack, including bonus damage from Nasty Plot, damage decreased by 20%, so boost out attack less damage, the Nasty Plot things less damage. Dark Void, half a second cooldown nerf. Shadow Claw getting a buff though. I mean, Shadow Claw is pretty bad. Definitely gonna give this a try to see how Shadow Claw is, but I mean, Darkrai needed nerfs. I still wish they would just reduce the stun duration of Darkrai. Just make it stunless, because Dark Void into basic attack stuns you for 2 seconds every single time with no cooldown in between. Feels kind of ridiculous to me, but you know, it's at least a start, and I think that's gonna make it much better to deal. Might not get one-shot as much, right? That's the problem. Like, Darkrai also just one-shot you. This might stop Darkrai from just straight up one-tapping you in every fight. At the same time, though, I think Dark Void, Dark Pulse might just be the way to go then again, because that barely got nerfed, or just the boost auto attack, I guess, and half a second here. So Dark Void and Dark Pulse could still be very good. But again, I want to try some Shadow Claw, see how that goes. And then we have a lot of text for Psyduck, which I think is very deserved. I kept saying they should nerf its passive, and they finally do it. Headache gauge increase rate, 25% reduction, so it's more difficult to get into Headache. Less move speed burst after being hit, which is also very strong. I mean, I think it was just, yeah. Psyduck's passive just did way too much. And now it's no longer invincible when going into the Headache, it's now just CC immune. So you can KO Psyduck doing the passive explosion that he does where he pushes people away. So I think that's a very good nerf. I think first they hit, it was too easy to get into. The iframes made no sense. Like, it just every single time. Iframes with a stun as well at the same time was just way too much, so that's very good. Then this Abe is getting a damage decrease, also deserved. It can only spread 4 times, 6 times during Headache state. So that's also getting a decent nerf. Spread counter per target from 2 to 1 time. Oh, so it can only bounce to one single target now. Not it can't bounce back. Okay, this Abe is getting nerfed pretty hard. But that's, I mean, it's such a strong ability, really. And then cooldown, also 1 second higher cooldown. Alright, so these are very good nerfs. These are nerfs that Psyduck needs. I hope Psyduck isn't completely gone now. With this, of course, I have to give it a try. But that's definitely very needed. Psychic, though, getting a buff. So Psychic might just be the way to go. Psychic, more range, more pull duration, and self-movement speed reduction from 40 to 10%. I don't even know what that means, actually, the self-move speed reduction thing. I have no idea what that means. Mimikyu. It says details pending, but I'm not sure. Shadow Sneak, 1 second cooldown, and a Shadow Claw reduced damage by 5%. I mean, finally they're nerfing Mimikyu. I've been waiting for this since such a long time. I still wish the Unite move just didn't do as much damage as it does. Like, the Unite move does ridiculous damage. Shadow Sneak, 1 second cooldown. Might not change too much, but Shadow Claw, of course. Like, if you just Shadow Sneak into play rough, you still one-shot, get a reset on Shadow Sneak. In the end, it doesn't really matter. The only thing that Shadow Sneak cooldown matters is you get punished for missing it, right? But as long as you hit someone and get the reset in, it's 0 seconds anyways. So that nerf is kind of whatever. Shadow Claw damage. Also nerfs Trick Room, which just saw play again, so that's kind of annoying as well. Like, Trick Room Shadow Claw is a fun bit, I think is quite fair. And it's already nerfed now with this too. So they're hitting both at the same time, both builds. And you can just play Shadow Sneak play rough anyways. Which currently lately Shadow Claw has been the way to go. Most people have been playing Shadow Claw, but yeah, we'll see how that turns out for Mimikyu. But at least some nerfs. And now we have Zacian already getting nerfed on Metaclaw. Metaclaw finally seeing the sun, whatever it's called, and already getting nerfed again. Shockwave damage reduced by 50%. And rush damage reduced by 6%. This has to be a mistake, right? 50%? The shock... Is that a mistake? No, it's really like this. Oh man. Yeah, but I mean, again, I mean, they kind of don't want you. Don't want Metaclaw as a one-shot tool. They want Metaclaw as like a utility that gives them attack speed, blocks some stuff, but 50% damage nerf. I mean, I think Metaclaw might just be gone again. I don't think we're going to see this, see Metaclaw again. You know, funny enough, Inteleon, I made a video yesterday about saying Inteleon has a bug, and I was asking if it's bug abusing or ethical. It looked like this. They're now fixing the Inteleon bug, and they straight up give him damage because Inteleon, without the bug, was such a bad Pokemon. And that's why I was like seriously asking if it's a terrible bug or if it's actually fine for Inteleon, because without the bug, Inteleon was absolute garbage. So they straight up increased all his damage by 12%, Snipe Shot by 10%, and Liquidation by 12%. Straight up, just damage boost everywhere. I don't know if it's more or less now than before the nerf. So the bug would take away the snipe ability would increase critical damage after being KO'd. The adjustment fixes the bug by compensating for the previous lacking damage output. So throughout this entire year, Inteleon was actually bugged that when he went down, he got a permanent damage increase for the rest of the game on his crits. So that was now fixed again for the second time. It was fixed for one patch, and then got bugged again. Now it's fixed again, and now they just straight up buffed Inteleon's damage. Honestly, this patch is not too bad. Not a lot, but I mean, we're currently on holidays, right? I don't know. I think we're gonna expect too much, but we have 1 or 5 Pokemon buffed. And the most important thing is that Darkrai, Psyduck, and Mimikyu got some nerfs. I mean, the Psyduck nerf is very important. That one seems like this is a spot on nerf, I would say. This nerfs, I would say, Timmy, they knew what they did with this. And this patch looks like a big improvement from the last one already. Just I feel like this time they're hitting things that actually make sense. So, yeah. I think this patch is actually pretty good. Maybe like a 7 or 8 out of 10, honestly. So I gotta give Knievel some credit on this. I think this makes a lot of sense, even though Elagos is very strong. I think Pitta Blade was pretty bad right now. I mean, Buzzword getting buffed is always scary, but doesn't matter what, I think this looks fun. I'm gonna have fun playing these Pokemon today. And let me know in the comments how you rate this patch, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!